This project is going to be, I think, one of the most interesting projects of my entire life to date. I've spent a lot of my life really searching for a lot of things. And they run the gamut, searching for ideas and answers to political questions, searching for ideas and questions in the spiritual realm, searching for financial opportunities, searching for growth and answers to personal life questions. How do I deal with relationships? My life has sincerely been spent seeking and looking for these ideas and concepts. What is justice really? What is fairness? And the voyage, I think, is elusive. It's hard. And the challenge is whenever you think you know what a relationship looks like, or you have a good solid political answer, or you've somehow found the way a relationship works with a child or a spouse or a brother, suddenly the rules change. Something happens. Your life changes. A new perspective or paradigm enters, or a new fact pops into the equation, or a part of the story you never understood comes out of the woodwork. And suddenly you find yourself struggling in each and every situation to try and reapply what you thought you had learned in the past. And it's been a long time in life that I've searched for these things and tried to find them. And as I've done that, it's been interesting. I've been able to live my life as a variety of different professions, but one of those has been as a coach, as a person who's in human development. And so having the opportunity, not only myself to try and find answers and balance and what's the meaning of life, happiness, I've had the opportunity to try and help other people find those same things through business coaching. Well, again, as you deal with other people, you find that their paradigms, their structures, their ideas are different. And so even in helping others grow to a new level, you find that it's elusive. Well, I found that I have a passion for this thing called chasing the elusive, right? I don't mean myself to be elusive. I don't mean myself to be hard to find or hard to understand. I just mean that the searching for that which is good and useful is elusive. Well, I'm in love with it. I'm passionate about it. I want to find it. And I've been driven to join the world of motivational speakers or of self-help, self-development, because I found a lot of value in this searching as I've done it. But even the way to enter such a big and broad and massive industry has been elusive to me. I can't quite find that angle. And every time you look into becoming a guru or a guide or whatever it is, they always talk about finding your angle, finding your exact spot, finding the way you'll define yourself and separate yourself out from everybody else. And to be honest, I just haven't been able to do it. I don't know how to find what that angle is. It's obviously elusive. Because as I find myself searching, I really can't separate my spiritual life from my personal life. I can't pull the political out of my spiritual and personal. I can't take my emotional and completely compartmentalize it into a place where it can really exist on its own. And so perhaps by creating my thoughts in a channel where I'm going to mix everything, this will be a bigger disaster than I actually think it's going to be. Maybe it won't help anyone. Maybe it won't be useful. Maybe it won't take anybody to ideas and thoughts that improve their lives and open up opportunities. I don't know. But I find it really hard to pick one topic, one technique, one idea. Because it seems like I'm in love with the idea of growth. I'm in love with the idea of finding the elusive. And I've read a lot of books and different people, and I've found that, my gosh, I mean, do we really need one more person who's out there searching? I mean, John Maxwell, he's a leadership trainer, coach, idea thinker. His content's amazing. He's got a lot of great ideas. Tony Robbins, phenomenal ideas. Zig Ziglar, my goodness, do we really need anybody else? Norman Vincent Peale, if you've never pulled out some of his books, he's one of an older generation of motivational speakers. Do we really need another person out there looking? Well, I don't know. But I'd like to present myself as a person who hasn't found the answers. I don't pretend to be somebody who's here who said, oh, I found the secrets. No, I have a story. I have things I've struggled with and things I've tried to find. But I'll tell you what, I'm so much more currently in the searching than I am in the, oh my gosh, here's what I found. You have to do exactly what I did. In fact, I think that's part of the problem in today's world. I think most of us, whether we're religious or not religious, whether we're political or not political, whether we believe in one type of relationship or another, I think most of us have concluded, oh, well, we've got the answer, we're done. And then we put about to bully everybody else into our way of thinking, as opposed to really looking inside and saying, wait a minute here. What assumptions have I made? Where maybe am I not seeing an opportunity? We don't come out of the known and actually enter the world of the elusive. We don't come out of the idea that, hey, I know everything, I know what should be done, I understand it, into the world of, my gosh, maybe there's a lot I don't know, maybe I should explore it. And so perhaps that's my angle, perhaps that's where I'm going, which is to invite everybody to come out and maybe consider new ideas, consider paradigms they haven't before. And hopefully I'll be able to do the same. Now again, this doesn't have a structure. I didn't come here with an outline. I have no idea where this is going to be headed. But as I put my thoughts on this channel, as I put my ideas, I think there are a couple of things that need to be clear on this channel. Number one, if something's elusive and you're searching, it means that you're going to stumble, right? If you're out there in the dark looking for answers, looking for ideas, you're going to stumble. And in fact, it's important that you do stumble, because you can't get to a new destination unless you travel over land that you haven't been over before. So you're going to stumble, make problems. So there are a couple rules I need to establish on this channel as I go forward. Number one, as I share my thoughts, as I talk about all the different things I've mentioned here in the last couple of minutes, it has to be absolutely true that I can say things that I don't mean to say. Now let me be clear about that. If I'm going to say things that I don't mean to say, there's two ways that I could say them. Number one, I could just accidentally put my words or tonality together where I say something that comes out verbally in a way I did not mean it to come out. I just said something and, oh my gosh, I say, wow, that sounded more insensitive than I meant it to be. Well, if anybody ends up listening to this, or this ends up being of value to somebody, you've got to recognize that just because we're thinking something doesn't mean we always are able to think about the way to best communicate it. So if I say something that sounds bad, I reserve the right to say, wow, that is not what I meant to say. And you see, in the world of politics, in the world of the news, you can't do that, because the minute you accidentally say something, everybody says, oh my gosh, that was your subconscious speaking what you really believe. And that's just a bunch of hogwash. I mean, it might be true sometimes, but you know what? In the complex society of thinking and trying to communicate and working through an idea, when you're searching or striving to come together, you're going to make statements, say words, use tone of voice, or even just flat out not understand that you just said something's insensitive or thoughtless, or maybe even flat out rude and wrong. Well, there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, you know what, that's not what I meant to communicate. Here's what I really meant. That's a rule. That's allowed on my channel. Number two, another thing that's allowed on my channel is I can say something that is absolutely, completely wrong or insensitive, intending to say it. So long as I have the integrity to recognize that, hey, that was insensitive. Where I have the integrity to say, you know what, I can grow. I can be bigger than that. In other words, what I'm giving myself permission on this channel to be is actually really human. I don't have to put up an image. You know, if I actually have something about me that actually is racist in our world today, well, then fine. It's going to come out. Well, here's the thing. I have the right to do that, because if I find a part of me that really does need to be changed, great. I reserve the right to learn from it and later on contradict myself, having learned from where I'm coming from, right? Having learned from where I've been to where I now am. That's the point of elusive. You're searching, you're seeking, you're trying to find. And what good is it to demonize a human being who's searching? It does no good. It only discourages and shuts down the drive to learn and grow. And that's the problem with so much of the conversation that happens spiritually or politically or financially, is we all jump to these, I know what to do, and we put down the person that's maybe making a mistake, and that just does no good. Well, if I'm allowed to, make honest mistakes that I can just correct because maybe, hey, I just accidentally said the wrong word, or I'm telling myself I'm allowed to be an imperfect human being, right? Because that's what I am. I'm imperfect. I'm searching. That's what this channel is about, looking for opportunity. Well, then the other rule is integrity, right? I have to, with integrity, say what I believe. So if I, for example, say something that is racist, okay, I'm using that term because it's such a hot point in today's society. If I say something that's racist as I'm searching for an answer, fine. Then I have to be honest about it. going forward. Honest in two ways. Number one, if it ends up being racist, I have to honestly consider the idea that, hey, maybe that's really a racist thought. Now, I might not have intended to be racist, but it's still maybe. That's fine. Integrity allows me to say, okay, I can see where that doesn't accurately take in the accounts of everybody out there. Okay, fine. Well, then, if that's the case, I have the right to say, you know what? With integrity, I recognize that was not the proper way to act or think, and I'm going to work to improve that. Because most of the time, you don't grow in one moment. When you find an error, you don't just change it in a moment. But I reserve the right to, with integrity, recognize my weaknesses. Now, there's another side to that integrity. Just because people think that what I say is racist, just because to them it is racist, it would not be integrity for me to say, oh yeah, you're right, I'm racist, when I don't see it as racist. Well, guess what? That's probably going to gain me a lot of enemies. It's probably going to gain a lot of people who are going to hate my guts. But look, you don't acquire something great by being tossed to and fro with every wind of human thought that gets thrown at you. No, this is actually searching for what justice is, not what people think it is, right? This is, searching for truth, not what people think it is. Now, of course, we get into all kinds of philosophy, right? Does justice really exist? Does truth really exist? Well, I'm going to operate from the idea that, yeah, it actually does. That you can look at a scenario and that you can sit back and discuss it and say, you know what? I can see where to person A, that was a racist comment, where to person B, it wasn't a racist comment. And in this case, there's no definitive answer. It's just, human perception. But there might be another time where you say, oh yeah, there's no doubt that was absolute racism. And I believe that exists. Times when you can say that was unjust, that was just, that was racist, that was not racist. Or, hey, it was just a difference of opinion. Well, if it's unjust, my goal is to become just. If it's just a difference of opinion, it's to come to understand the differences of opinion, to understand where we disagree, where we agree, and hopefully lead to a greater connectivity with me, anybody who happens to listen to this, and who knows, maybe eventually society at large, right? Because let's be honest, the news doesn't really seek to understand these things. There's no real fairness there. There's also always an agenda where what's said, what's talked about, isn't to acquire the elusive idea of peace or connectivity or understanding. No, it's almost always with an idea to manipulate, right? And I don't care if it's conservative news or liberal news. I don't care if it's spiritual, God-fearing news or atheistic news. There's almost always an agenda. Well, hopefully the only agenda here is truly connecting and understanding, right? That elusive idea of what is justice, what is truth, what is fairness, what is truly constructive. I could use the word good, right? As a religious person, I use the words good and bad or good and evil. But maybe I'll use the word constructive, because to me, anything that's constructive is good. And anything that is destructive is generally bad. Now, of course, you could destroy a building to build a bigger one, and that's not a destructive kind of destruction. Yeah, how's that for a tongue twister, right? So maybe they're actually constructive forms of destruction, like the military, right? They're tearing you down to build you up. Okay, yeah. Enough with the tongue twisters. You get what I'm saying, right? If you're here for the same reasons I'm here, you understand that the point of this is to actually create real dialogue. But once again, you have to understand that I have the right to be a human being. I have the right to make mistakes without it jeopardizing the actual quality of what's here. There's another rule, and I've forgotten the number of rules here because I haven't really scripted this out, but there's another rule, and that is I'm allowed to be a troll somewhere else, right? Because I'll admit right now, I said I'm allowed to be human because I am a human, right? I'm not going to pretend that, like I said, I'm some guy who's arrived at this enlightened state where I'm bringing everybody along to be like I am. That's ridiculous. I feel like I have so much more in terms of growing and becoming, and that we as a society, every one of us do, that I think I would just be absolutely dishonest to say, oh, well, yeah, come with me, be like me. That's just stupidity. I have so much more to grow on and to become. But again, I'm allowed to be human. I'm allowed to make mistakes, but on this website, I can't be the troll, right? On this channel, I can't be the guy who's out there being human. I have to at least give up some of my humanity here. I have to move a little bit closer to perfection. So what I'm saying is this: is for some way down the road, you find what I troll online. Well, I'm not very nice sometimes. I get into my propaganda mode. I say mean things. I get into these verbal fights. I'm the troll of trolls. So there you go. I'm already admitting that I behave probably in ways that I shouldn't, especially given my spiritual beliefs. I should behave much more nicely online. being a troll isn't really in line with what I believe. Well, there it is. I've already admitted the fact I'm human. Well, why in the heck do I like trolling so much? Can anybody explain that to me, right? And how come I have such a hard time not going to the comments section and finding everybody I think is an idiot? Now, of course, they're not an idiot. They're just a wonderful human being like me trying to find the elusive answers to our social questions. But why is it so hard for me to stop going on there and say, well, you're an idiot. This is what you believe. Well, look, I'm allowed to be human elsewhere. And all I'm trying to say is that the principle actually stands above the presenter, period, the end. And that's what this channel is about. It's about recognizing that, whoever's giving or talking about these things, it could be me or it could be another presenter, it doesn't matter. The principle stands above the presenter. I've always thought it strange when you see somebody you really looked up to, right? Somebody that really is an amazing person, and they really, I don't know, they stand for whatever it is. They stand for, being really physically in shape, or they stand for, caring or giving, or they stand for women's rights. I don't care what it is. And then suddenly they do something that kind of is hypocritical to their message. And suddenly everybody says, well, then the message must not be true. That makes no sense to me. Now, I get it emotionally, right? That person, that figurehead kind of became the representation of your idea. It became the person who really drove you forward. I get that. I understand that. But when they fall, the person fell from the ideal. That doesn't mean that the ideal stopped existing, right? And I hope that makes sense because, again, as you listen to me, you're going to find all kinds of humanity in Eamon Brimhall. You're going to find all kinds of things that just flat out don't need to be there. But that's okay because I'm searching. I'm looking for that elusive. Whether it be in business or my personal life, whether it be in politics, I'm looking for that elusive, that better status, that higher level, that better accomplishment, where people come together and there's a real understanding. Now again, just because people understand each other doesn't mean there's going to be peace on earth. We may come to a perfect understanding that we are on completely opposite sides of a rift and that there's nothing but a fight left. Okay, that's fine. I get it. I'm not naive enough to believe that there are no fights worth fighting. I may be spiritual, but that doesn't mean I truly believe we're in a world where peace always reigns. That would be nice. I would hope for it. But here's the thing. If there is to be a fight, fine. Let it be the last resort. If there is to be a fight, okay, let's enter it with courage, but let's not move into it quickly. Let's move into it slowly. Let's make sure that when we decide to fight, that there's truly something that we've disagreed over that deserves a fight. Whether it's emotional, whether it's political, whether it's with guns and tanks, let's make sure any fight that's had is worth fighting for. That there's truly causes worth the violence. Now again, I would tend to believe that rarely is that the case, but I mean, come on. Was a guy like Hitler ever really going to listen to peaceable causes? Right, I think that's an easy one for almost all of us in the world to say, hey, Hitler was definitely a scumbag. And there was nothing to do but pick up arms. All right? But you also learn in that time that there were people like Gandhi who tried to reach out to Hitler and create peace. They did everything they could to bring things down. Well, that's the point. As human beings, we are human. But at least on this channel, in this place, let's have the right to be human, to have our mistakes, to say things we don't mean, and then to grow and change our opinions, to come here with integrity. Again, no matter what we are elsewhere, let's strive for an ideal. Let's strive for a principle that really is above us. And then when we find those we care about who don't quite live up to it, it doesn't matter. Let's keep striving for the elusive. Let's mourn the person who's fallen by the wayside. Hope that they'll get back up and continue the journey to find the elusive. I really hope this is valuable. I know I look forward to presenting. To be honest, I have no idea who's going to listen. Not even sure that I really care. Other than I need a place myself to actually talk out the stupidity I see going in the world around me. Right? The ability to actually talk about and consider the challenges that face us as a modern society. And hopefully it will be fun. Hopefully I'll enjoy it. Hopefully it will be illustrative to me and lead me to new areas of growth and understanding. And maybe I'll make a lot of friends. To be honest, my biggest terror is that people go out there and find out exactly how human I am. Exactly how challenged I am to be fair and kind and thoughtful and progressive. Yet to stand for morals and values that don't need changing, right? I mean, how do you balance all that? Well, that's my biggest fear. In our world today, people absolutely destroy others whenever they find a weakness. Well, my weaknesses are going to be on full display. but I hope it takes me somewhere. Enjoy.